Okay, another milestone for the program here. 3 weeks in a row, the Word Podcast. James Mundia joined with Richard. I'm not joined with. I'm joined by Richard Bruce Ainge Abernathy.
Whoa. Does that mean I'm loved or hated in Boston?
I think that they're still making up their minds. At one point, it was pretty much all love, but now you're in management. It's a little bit harder to please people in the suit.
This is true.
But as we'll discuss today, that could be changing with some recent front office moves by the Boston Celtics. People still trying to figure out, us included, what their overall strategy is. Are they a college team playing in the NBA?
I assume the big move you're talking about is them bringing over Ante Zizic for this season. I can only assume.
This is huge. I didn't mean to bury the lead. So for those of you that were just wanted confirmation, thank you for reminding me, Rich. That is the news that we are. We're hearing. It's breaking right before we went live here. We do the show live, and we also put the podcast on iTunes and YouTube. The Word Podcast. The hashtag is Sports News Stuff. And we'll dive in a little bit to one of my favorite topics, which is financial blunders of professional athletes. Clinton Portis apparently swindled out of $43 million by the people that were handling his money. As I said to Rich in the green room, if somebody gives me $1,000, I'm going to be very careful with it. Somebody gives me $1 million, I'm going to have safeguards in place. If I'm getting tens of millions, bro, that's tough, man.
Well, I think the safeguards are what let him down. We can talk about it more later, but it's not like it was trusted financial advisors that were taking his money.
Yeah, I guess it's like the company you keep too, which the first thing I heard, I don't know, we're not at a point where people really have a regionalism about this show. Or I guess we're not really at the point where we know if people are actually listening to the show, but that's another deal.
We're just screaming into the ether.
But when I remembered that he went to school in Miami, and the first thing I thought of when they said it was his financial advisors, I thought, okay, he got in with some people in Miami, because that's just kind of the people that are down there that know how to get their way into money for doing nothing. And they ended up, when he went pro, kind of screwed him over. But it turns out it was actually a D.C.-based firm, like an actual business. So,
you mean people in D.C. took money from hardworking Americans?
Yeah, I guess it's really not that much more of a shock than if it'd been like people in Miami who he'd just known growing up who said, "Yeah, I'll be your agent. I'll handle the money." Not it being someone from D.C. is not even. Yeah, it's on the same level. Just different fashion sense, but a lot of crime going on, a lot of swindling. And then I wanted to follow up on something. First of all, did you finish Veep?
No.
Oh, come on! Oh, I'm just dying to talk about it with somebody.
I'm sorry. I'm a failure.
No, it's okay. I think it's good that you are not all the way caught up on TV. For me, ask anybody who knows me, my sister especially. For me to be right now caught up on, not Thrones. Well, I am caught up on Thrones. Cards, Orange. Pretty much burning through Kimmy Schmidt right now on Netflix. That's very rare. Normally, I'm way behind the curve. I'm like at a point now where I'm like looking for stuff to watch.
Yeah. Strong show.
Which one? Kimmy?
Kimmy, yeah.
Unbelievable show. Season 3 is really good.
I've not gotten to season 3 yet. But I've watched the first 2 in full.
Oh gosh, I mean that 30 Rock mentality, that production style is.
I love it. We've talked about this before. That's right in our comedic wheelhouse.
It feels like something that we would have put together, except it would have.
It really does, except way better.
Yeah, I meant the stylistic choices. Yeah, clearly we probably wouldn't be able to produce something like that. Although
each episode would be 2.5 hours long, also.
But it would be really fun. I know we bring this up every week on the show, but a 30 Rock style show about being at student television would have been.
Oh God, it was already 30 Rock. It was like a real life parody.
Some of that stuff, like these people, I see them sometimes, not in person, on the internet, see what they're doing. They pop up in a news feed, and I just can't take them seriously. And maybe that's how they feel about me. Although, and I don't know if I talked to you about this before, there were two people that we were in student television with they were producer. Well, one was a producer and an actor. The other one she was just an actress. She didn't like have any like writing or producing or.
That sounds like the title to a memoir. She was just an actress.
Well, that could be her memoir. I'm sure her career is thriving right now. And this is why I say that, because somehow I think it was Doug Branson, who is a big friend of both of ours, friend of the podcast. He has a podcast that we've collaborated on, all three of us jumping on and off. But I think he told me that these two people had done like softcore porn in LA because they moved to LA right after school. So I don't know if it was Doug or somebody, but they like found it. Like they knew where to find it. It was like I think it was online too. And
Wait, that's online?
I don't know how to find it now because I forget their names. But that's actually something we should add to the show notes is we need to find out how to find out their names and then how to find these clips because they've got IMDb. So really oh God. All right, we're about to pause the show and text Branson. Let me just add to the show notes. We need to text Branson. This is so ridiculous.
I hope this isn't going to become like a regular segment, like porn inquiries.
I mean, I saw the clips. I remember seeing them, and it was so mild. You didn't see anything, and it was a softcore porn, so it was cheesy acting. The production value was terrible. Actually, production value wasn't bad. It was shot well. It was just really dumb. And I only watched like those two scenes, which were like a minute or two each. It wasn't even much happening. So, but no, we won't do it every week. As long as, if we keep finding out STV alumni that are in the industry, then.
I was young and needed the money, James.
I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. Sorry, I didn't mean to dox you like that. Anyway, we'll come back to that. That being said, what I was leading to was, did you start your experiment with Game of Thrones?
I did.
Oh shit! Oh,
I didn't get that far.
Whoa! I can't believe you started.
I fell asleep like halfway through episode 3.
Yeah, that'll happen. That'll definitely happen. Wait, so where are you gonna do this?
I'm thinking about it.
Whoa. It's good. It's good. I mean, I'm cynical about everything. So like,
you've totally flip flopped. Last week you were like yelling at me for even considering it.
I mean, I don't want you to, but you're not going to be harmed by it. The only thing you just might end up like me, where you like go through like the phases. Like the first phase is like you're into it, it's entertaining, you're trying to put everything together, you're trying to give the show a chance. Then you're really stuck in, you get invested in characters, especially around season 3 or 4. They do some really good things. You get really invested in the characters, and then you're like, okay, I'm in. Then you get to like the obsession stage where you're like always thinking about it, fan theories, YouTube videos, all that stuff. Then you get to where I am now, which is over it, cynical, and not really like with any expectations. So if you're okay going through that roller coaster, then carry on. But
I'm willing to accept that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's inevitable. That's the thing. Like, I mean, if Lost came out now with the internet, I would have lost a job. Whatever job I had when Lost was on, if it came out in the last 3-4 years, I would lose the job. I would just become upset. I know it sounds crazy, but just the internet, it just makes it so much more interesting. Even like That's why I think a lot of shows stink, because they don't really have to be that good. They just need to be good enough to have some kind of internet, like people talking about it, researching it, etc. I think that's part of why the bar is a little bit lower, and also because we're binging, so stuff has to be produced more often. Anyway, now I sound like the media studies professor.
Yeah, I was taking notes
This is
just
I know
reflexively.
this isn't on the syllabus, but expect to see it on the final exam. So wow, you're doing Thrones. Okay. Well, we'll come back to that. We'll come back. Well, whatever. We'll see. Oh man, it's too bad I'm not in. Well, you wouldn't catch up by the time this season started. I was gonna say if you caught up by the time season 7 started, I would actually watch it just to talk about it on the podcast because
Yeah, and I don't think I can be ready for week 1. Maybe 2 or 3 episodes in, I can be there.
whoa, you're going for life right now, dude.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh wow.
I could also not even make it through episode 4. So this really could go one of 2 ways.
This dude right here is going for life.
I just want to see what
Wow.
the fuss is about. I still don't totally get it.
I wonder, I'm trying to think of when it hit for me. It was probably at least season 2. Most season 2s of these shows that have these kinds of followings are the best seasons. And I know that that's very anecdotal. It's kind of generalizing, but I just think that there's something about having to do it again in a way that people are familiar with, but you still have to throw in some curveballs. I just feel like that's just a natural order of things. And the second season of Thrones, where I think it obviously the show had gained notoriety. It was no longer just kind of trying to make it, and it just took more chances. It introduced there's always new characters and new storylines, but it was really like the way that it went about in season 2, where it was kind of everybody in my apartment complex is slamming their doors right now. I don't get it. So anyway,
That's how you celebrate America, James.
I guess maybe is that it? I mean, it's like what the hell is that? So, but the
Which,
way,
by the way, we would be remiss. Sorry to
oh
interrupt.
yeah.
For the first holiday edition of the Awards, happy
Oh
July 4th to everybody.
yeah. I want this being streamed at all the family cookouts. We'll try to keep it clean.
Too
We'll
late. You've already brought up porn and Game of Thrones. I think we're past keeping it clean.
look. We need to find out who these people are and where we can get that footage because it's too gratifying. Like,
And you're talking about Game of Thrones, clearly.
of course, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so you're gonna go for life. Wow. Okay, well, but let's turn back the clock here because you're going for life. Wow. I need to just process that.
It's not a big deal.
It's, I guess this shows you how much that show messed me up though, because I'm over here like, it's like you're about to try a new drug that I know is like really really addicting, and I like am not into it anymore. So I'm like, oh boy, you're gonna have a wild ride. Like that, actually, that is the analogy. That is the analogy. So, because I've taken that, man. I took it, man, and like, the whole decade of 1970 went by in like 10 minutes, and here I am. Yes, so, man, you're going for life. Okay, we'll come back to that. We were getting breaking news. I'm on Twitter right now. How about this Twitter thing, huh? Anyway,
It
sorry.
might Twitter might be around for a little while.
Yeah, I think it can make some money. We've got
No, you can't do that, but it'll be around.
So we've got well, we'll talk about your new job. Your new job as the GM and president of basketball operations at the Celtics, Richard Bruce Ainge Abernathy, making some moves today. We're getting on the feed right now. Well, actually, the feed news right now is Kevin Olenick's restricted status, making him an unrestricted free agent, We were going to talk.
It's a Linux, James. Glad you keep up with the association.
Yeah, look. It is one of my New Year's resolutions. Half New Year's resolution because we're already halfway through the year, over halfway through the year. What happened to this year? Sorry. Anyway, Gordon Hayward agreeing to join the Celts. Danny Ainge puts a feather in his cap. And what they're saying now is that Boston has a new big three. Is that a little bit, gosh, I'm looking at this picture right now.
Yeah, it's an exaggeration.
It's not a big three. Oh gosh.
I like all those guys individually, but I mean they're clearly a level below. At the very least, they're a level below Golden State, but who isn't?
Right.
And they're really a level below Cleveland still, I think. I mean, it'll be more competitive, and with their supporting cast, and maybe they could, it's not unreasonable to think they could beat them. But just those three guys alone, the Cavs three is, I still think, much better than the Celtics three.
So they don't get past them.
I would say no.
Richard.
In part because, and this might be blasphemous for anyone up in the New England area, but I just don't really think you can win with one of your best players being 5'8" or whatever Isaiah is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too hard. He's too much of a liability on one end of the court, and it's too easy to, much like a guy who can't shoot free throws, so you can't have him out there in crunch time. A guy who's 5'8" and can't defend anybody, it's hard to have him out there in crunch time too.
Man, I swear. I mean, I jump into the studio, and I'm in Bristol. I'm talking to Tim Legler over here. Oh wait, is he in LA now? I guess he's in LA.
I'm not sure where Legs is. He didn't accept my request on Find My Friend, so I can't really track him down on the map.
Find My Friend.
I'd guess he's probably in Bristol, but that's just a guess.
Okay. So yeah, but I was, what I was getting at is that I'm sitting next to Tim Legler here in the studio, and I don't think what you said is a bold statement. I think that, yeah, he's listed at 5'9", so they're probably,
We all know what that means.
they're padding a little bit, man.
Yeah. Everybody pads up except for Durant, who pads down.
Oh man. So Isaiah Thomas, Al Horford, and Gordon Hayward are not the new big three.
Look, it's going to be a really good team.
Yeah,
they're going to be really good. All three of those guys are really good players, and I mean even all-star caliber players. But there's a difference in an all-star and a superstar. It's another level, and I'm just not convinced that they're at that level. But
yeah.
1 through 8, the Celtics have as much or more talent as anybody because they're deep with a lot of really good players.
Mm-hmm.
But you just need a takeover force of nature type of guy to win a title.
So is that what they have?
Sorry, what?
I was going to say that's what they have to do now. Do they have an option? They have to do that. I mean, I'm saying that you're saying they have to do it to win. As an organization, does that need to be the focus? Doesn't seem like they're moving in that direction.
Well, I still don't think they're done. I mean, they have a lot of assets left.
Mm-hmm.
They have a ton of draft picks. I think we're going to see some things change there the next couple of years still. They have to re-sign Isaiah, which isn't done yet. And I still think that they're playing the long game. I think they're trying to have their cake and eat it too a little bit of stay competitive, maybe come out of the East, but know that they're really priming for that run, 3 years from now.
Director of Basketball Strategy and Operations, Richard Bruce Ainge Abernathy. breaking down the latest news from Boston, Massachusetts. After getting Al Horford, pardon.
Easy for you to say.
Looks like the Celtics are going to pick up Gordon Hayward as well. Still incrementally making themselves more competitive in the East, but as you just heard from Richard Bruce, Carlissimo, Abernathy, probably not enough to get past the Cavs. I tend to agree. I just think this is so fascinating to me. Just how do you do it if you're them? And I think I like what you're saying is, you have to kind of just find that moment to maybe go for it. But as you mentioned last week, not doing it in a haphazard way. So in that case, Ainge seems like he's got a little bit of a strategy here.
Oh, I mean, it's compile as many assets as you can and then see what you can get with them. I mean, cap space was an asset. They've used that, and they're going to have to get rid of either Jay Crowder or Marcus Smart, it looks like, to make room for the Hayward salary. But they'll get that figured out. But I still don't think you can completely sleep on and this might be a little crazy, but an Anthony Davis deal down the line somewhere. I still feel like that's not really going to work there in New Orleans, and they're going to have to blow it up. And nobody's better positioned with what they have to offer than the Celtics, for whether it's for him or for anybody else whose situation changes or someone who becomes available. So, I think it's a good move on their part that they can, this is a team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, so they're a good basketball team, clearly. And they just added Gordon Hayward to that and Jason Tatum, and are bringing over at least one of their Euro stashes for next year. So they're adding some pieces to what was already a nice little puzzle. We'll just see if it's good enough to get by Cleveland. And I'm not one to bet against LeBron, so I'm gonna lean no, but it's certainly not out of the question.
You heard it here first, people. Anthony Davis, stone cold lead pipe lock for the Celtics trade. You heard it here first. From Richard.
I'm not willing to put 5 on it, but
tease. You wouldn't put 5 on that?
No, I wouldn't put a 5 on that.
Okay, we were going to save this.
It's just fun to think about.
We were going to save this for. No, I'm going to cut it up right now. We were going to save this for next week's show, but this is a perfect opportunity to kind of put this segment to the test, which we're going to call. I got 5 on it, and there's supposed to be a sound effect with that. So let me see if I can just get that together. But essentially what's going to be happening is you have your wins and losses that you track in the, NFL countdown and all that. Whatever the name of the show was. Sorry, Boomer, for not remembering. And I like the idea of tracking the stats throughout the season. But we're not just focused on one league. So we've got, our bold statements, our predictions, but we're going to up the ante a little bit with putting 5 on it. What if we do this with real money? I don't think that's a good idea. Probably not a good idea to start a podcast with someone and start betting money against them on the show.
I couldn't think of a better way to start a podcast.
Well,
and I assume you mean 500 and not $5.
No, I mean 5. I mean $5. If we did do real money, then people would just listen in just to be like, okay, who's going to get totally screwed at the end of the season? I guess.
Well, but then they find out that they're Schrute bucks, which are effectively worthless.
Don't make me do that. Don't make me watch The Office tonight, dude. Oh, come on. Why'd you do that, man? Wow. I guess.
What you feel in your heart is on you. That's not on me, okay?
Dude, no, you just incepted me. Now I'm going to want to watch The Office tonight after the show. It's unbelievable.
Well, that sounds awful, James.
Well, I was thinking about getting a good night's sleep and maybe reading a little bit, and now I'm just going to be looking for just cherry picking the episodes that I want. Ooh, I found the soundbite.
What is your favorite Office episode?
Favorite episode? This is actually good for us to go over right now because it's one that you showed me, and I remember when you were living at the that gangster house, and I came over to just hang out with a couple of my roommates, and he put on that episode where Michael Scott has to retire from comedy. Or and what's his name? Todd Packers at the office, or whatever that
Yeah,
douchebag name was. So
yeah.
she comes out of the
Jan Levinson, no Gould.
he comes
I
out of
love
the
that.
office with her.
What happened to Gould?
Stop it. Now I have to watch it tonight. Oh, gosh. He comes out of the office with her. He's like, I am no longer allowed to make any jokes, and you can consider this my retirement from comedy. And I mean, that exchange with Jim, that really won Jim over for me. Because I was always a little bit like, I just don't like the puppy eye crush on my coworker thing. Because that's not what the original character had in the British version. The British version, he was just a little bit, actually kind of a charming guy. He was just in a really bad situation.
Yeah,
You
a
know?
little edgier.
Yeah, and the interplay between him and Dwight was, or whoever the Dwight character was in the British version, was just, it was I liked it better. Anyway, but that episode where then Jim's like, does that include? That's what she said. That's just you can't beat that. Can't beat
It's a
that.
great one.
But that's the one that sticks out. I actually liked the episode where Pam and Jim kissed for the first time. I thought it was really well done. It was that casino night episode. That's a good
Yeah,
episode.
that's a good one.
Oh my
The
gosh.
the Benihana episode's a great one.
Ooh. That's like that's one of those ones that I heard about probably from you before I even started watching the show. Uh, yeah, that one's
That
good.
and Prison Mike might be my favorite.
Prison Mike.
Yo, the Dementus.
And like it's actually like so offensive. I think even like
Yeah,
Kelly says that or somebody says that. It's like this is so bad.
yeah.
Oh god, that's just like Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Steve.
Excuse me, Darrell. It's Daryl.
What? Now, where do we stand? Where do we stand on Steve Carell? He left because he had to leave. I mean, he was
Is there anywhere? I thought there's only one place to stand.
well. Yeah, okay, see, I'm a little bit scared to open this box, but
Well, I'm scared too, but you've come this far.
all right. You think that there's only one place to stand, and where is that?
It's in a good place.
Okay. I'm not saying it's not in a good place. He's talented. The movie where they take the dead body across this country on a van. What is that one?
Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah. I was really not used to seeing him, obviously, in a serious role. Thought he was great. I haven't seen that wrestling movie with Channing Tatum. That looks a little bit weird, though. But I just was really just gauging. I don't have any judgments on what should be, what she's doing. I was just gauging. I don't know if everybody felt that way. I would imagine so. I mean, he's so talented. Well, those former. Did you watch Jon Stewart's last episode? I mean, it's
I did.
all the former cast members. I didn't realize some of the people that they'd
Oh
had
yeah.
on there, and like the two guys from Veep. I mean, I think that's just unbelievable that they're on the same show again, and it's incredibly funny. And they just happen to be on, the Daily Show together. Uh, but yeah, all those people are so talented. I mean, obviously, your boy Stephen Colbert. I mean, just unbelievable. But okay, that just kind of takes me somewhere else here. I know we're jumping all over the place. Trevor Noah.
Yes.
What are we doing here? Are we?
I'm a fan. I mean, it's obviously different. I mean, you can't follow a legend, and yeah, I will say I do like that he's owned it and tried to make the show his own rather than I'm just going to do the same thing and try to do my Jon Stewart impression. So I'm glad that if you're going to change it, change it. Um, but and I think we've talked about this a little before off the show that the tone early on, rather than Stewart's kind of biting, like, what the hell is wrong with these people? It was more of the, guy who's not from here saying, "Wow, this is really how you guys do things."
Okay.
Was more the underlying tone, and I think that shifted a little bit now. Um, but especially the first year or so, and during the election, it was a lot of incredulity of it's like, wow, this is really what you guys are doing, huh? And it had a little bit of that outsider perspective. Whereas I think now it's shifted a little bit more, whether he's just more comfortable in the role or is a little more established as a figure in American pop culture. But I feel like that's changed a little bit for the better, and they've started to try to take on some particular issues or kind of find their corner amongst all the political agendas and craziness.
Sorry, had my
Yeah, you tuned out while I was talking. It's
no, I
fine.
had my snooze. I had my
Yeah, exactly.
what did I say? Sneeze button, cough button pressed in there during another look into the brilliant mind of media analyst and lecturer at Florida International University, Richard Bruce Carnegie Abernathy.
Carnegie.
Is it? How do you pronounce that? Is it Carnegie?
Carnegie.
I think I get
Uh,
on this show, my IQ just like completely drops. I don't know what it is. I can't think straight. Just trying to like run this board and these screens at the same time. This is actually much easier than we used to do it with video. There's so many things to watch or to keep track of. I will agree. Yeah, he's gotten a little bit more biting. He's gotten a little bit more direct about Trump now that he's in office. I don't particularly think he's funny. I don't really like the show with him. I think he's funny outside of the show. And I did give him a chance because like he was on Comedians in Cars, getting coffee with Seinfeld, and he was good on that, and seemed like a genuine person, which is what I love about that show is that he gets these people that are very they're performers, and he just kind of gets them to hang out. And he did the same thing with John Oliver, and that was a good episode too. John Oliver's an interesting guy. His story is very interesting.
yeah, he's
Uh,
great.
but but anyway,
That
yeah,
that that's where Comedy Central screwed up.
yeah. What happened with that? I don't understand. Like how? Because John
They they
Oliver
they didn't
wins,
they didn't they didn't lock him up.
but did they even want him?
Yeah, but he got a the offer for the HBO show and took it. I mean, if I guess if they had known that Stewart was going to leave when he was going to, I mean, because that followed not too long after that,
Oh, okay,
that they would have made. But there's nothing. Not that they didn't want to keep him, or not that he probably didn't want to stay. But I mean, if you're the offensive coordinator and you get a head coaching offer, you don't stay.
right. Okay, I thought that it was just like so. It was just bungled in a very simple sense, not like.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and I'm sure you could write into a contract like a you know something to limit the out or not necessarily a non-compete, but I'm sure that uh, contractual there's contractual language to protect yourself from such a scenario. Um, but I guess that was not in place, or it was at the end of his contract, and he had another opportunity, so he took it. But
He's only got to do 1 day a week, or I don't know how many episodes they do at once on that show or shoot at once, but
No, I don't think they. I mean, maybe some of the uh, not field pieces because it's not really what they are, but some of their, you know, elements are commercial parodies
mhm.
or the things they do. I'm sure they spread out over time and stuff. But I mean, they keep it current. I mean, they're clearly not. It's not the old Dana Carvey sketch where he, he's who was the old Tom Brokaw where he's doing the all the ways Gerald Ford was going to die because he wanted to take the summer off. Just a classic sketch. Anytime I'm in a voiceover session with one of our guys, and inevitably at some point, Gerald Ford dead today at the senseless age of 83. So anyone listening who has not seen that old Dana Carvey show sketch, please YouTube and Google and find it somewhere. It's fantastic.
Oh man, that is a really good sketch. Holy cow. Dana Carvey, he's kind of trying to get back in the mix a little bit. He took a self-imposed hiatus.
Yeah, I think his wife was sick back in like the late '90s at some point, and so I think he took some time away and was home with her and his family, and I think she's doing better. Um, but he's one of the best. I loved him. In fact, you know what the OJ chase happened when we were in 9, 10 in
Yeah,
that range.
about that.
The
Yeah,
chase
90,
the chase and the
94.
trial. So I mean, I knew some of the basics, but the bulk of my knowledge of the particulars of the OJ trial and how things went were kind of formed by his stand-up special
Yeah, I
on
remember that.
HBO, and I mean that's one of the all-timers for me. So I've long been a big Dana Carvey guy. So
That's
always
so
happy to see him
funny
do well.
because my OJ stuff came from the Chris Rock HBO special. And I thought the way that he did it, I still think that's one of the best ever, just because even with how terrible what happened was, it was still so funny. Like the way that he presented it. Like I don't know if could you do a joke like that today? I don't know if you could, because he's
I don't
like,
know.
like I'm not saying I would have killed it, but I understand, like not just that aspect, which even then, I mean, it got a big laugh, but
Yeah,
just like the fact that and then he goes into like he's driving around his Ferrari. He's like he was known to drive around a Ferrari that OJ bought for her, and oh gosh, I mean I don't know, but that was I mean it was more comedic, but I do remember, yeah, Dana Carvey special. He kind of goes into it because he had impressions of all the different lawyers too that were involved in the case. Maybe I'll watch that tonight, not The Office. I think that would be a better. The problem with The Office, I could go 5, 6 episodes easy in a night,
yeah.
easy.
Hey James, I just have one question.
What's the question?
We're Freeman OJ. You in? Just a brilliant bit.
Oh gosh, and you have seen Chappelle's new stuff, right?
I saw the LA one.
The first one, yeah. That's the
Yeah.
better one. That's the
I've
better
not,
one.
I haven't seen the one in Austin yet.
The
But
Austin one, yeah, it was shot uh, very different time than the LA one. He looks like physically different, and like he is a lot more laid back. He smokes on stage like a joint, I think, or like a blunt. I think he actually, no, I think he actually, well, I think he gets it from someone in the audience. I don't know,
yeah,
it's not really a spoiler, but
yeah.
um,
When I saw him, he probably went through a half pack of cigarettes, but
oh, in the LA one, he smokes.
no. I saw him here in Jacksonville a couple years ago.
Whoa, 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 money bags. Whoa. You pull up to the thing with the Camaro, throw the keys at the valet, go to see little Dave Chappelle.
Dude, it was a great show. He was awesome. I had a great time. Went with a buddy of mine, and like he sort of did his set, and then basically just started kind of having story time with the crowd and just talking to everybody, and was pretty laid back. And then people in the crowd started being drunk jackasses and shout stuff, and then he shut it down and stopped. So
Whoa.
yeah, just like people, standard stuff, people yelling things and interjecting and interrupting, and why'd you go crazy, Dave, and stuff like that. So it became not great after a while, and he was like, all right, screw you guys, I'm done. But it was awesome. His story about meeting Kanye, if you haven't heard it, is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I saw he did that on
I
Fallon.
think he did it on Fallon, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So he went through that bit during the show. So it's pretty good. It was great to see him. He's on the Mount Rushmore for me for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, it's decided. I'm not watching The Office. I'm gonna watch Dana Carvey. You're over here trying to get me to get 5, 6 episodes deep in The Office. People got to work tomorrow, Rich.
Hey, it's okay.
Whew, maybe I still will watch The Office. See, it's a problem.
Or
Okay.
there's an Office episode with Dana Carvey you could accomplish both.
Oh man. No, I want to see that. I'm gonna watch his framing OJU in. Could you imagine that conversation? Oh my gosh. So we kind of jumped around from the Gordon Hayward trade to
Yeah.
the Daily Show.
Well, not a trade. It was a signing.
Sorry, pardon.
It actually had one more thing that I really wanted to unpack on that we didn't get to yet.
Okay.
And we can cut it down a little bit. But what's with everybody doing the Players Tribune thing to announce where they're signing or where they're going to college or whether they're turning pro or whether they're retired? Like, it's like, I mean, I understand wanting to take some of the power and to tell the story that you want to tell on your terms. I understand that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But to play hey, I was really struggling with this decision and it changed a lot and I don't know what I'm going to do. And then a couple hours later, there's a 2,000-word essay explaining your decision. It seems a little insincere.
Yeah, it's very political, isn't it? It's very much like the decision's already been made, but we're not going to announce anything until we're strategically ready to to make that happen or to make that public. And I don't necessarily understand the mechanics of it as to why that would be an advantage, but it is something it reminds me of politics.
Well, the basic mechanics of it I get, because it's much like anything else. Hey, we've decided what we're going to do. We're going to call a news conference and we're going to tell everybody. That's one thing. That's fine. Like, I get that. But I haven't decided. I really don't know what I'm going to do. And then magically there's a 2,000-word essay that clearly he had to know to write it in that amount of time. It just seems disingenuous, and I just don't understand why everything's going that direction. Like, release a statement and then the next day have the here's why. But I guess that's just sort of the way things go now.
Media strategist Richard Bruce Stephanopoulos Abernathy joining us in studio here. Ooh, I'm glad I got that Stephanopoulos off.
That's the first name you pronounced correctly tonight, sir. Congratulations.
What did I say earlier? Oh, gosh. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. So we jumped around a little bit. We covered the some of the NBA news. Still a lot going on. Still a lot to be determined before the deadline. Another thing that's been on my mind lately that I don't know. We've talked about it a couple times in the show, but this whole thing of athletes losing all their money, getting in all kinds of trouble financially. Clinton Portis dropping a bomb last week that he got swindled, or was it even this week, that he got swindled out of 43 million of the money, which I guess is everything he made. Apparently his net worth is like negative right now. Apparently dealing with some unsavory financial advisors that he met while in D.C., and I guess they just swindled him out of his money to the point where he thought he was going to actually kill these guys, and didn't, which is good. But
always a plus.
I think that's good. I think it's going to be good for his career and his life. I mean, he's going to have to figure out a way to earn money. What do you do if you're in that situation? Like, what do you do if you're Clinton Portis and you need cheddar right now? Like, do you go play in Canada?
I don't think I mean, that's not that much cheddar, I wouldn't think. I mean, it's not a bad living, certainly, but if he's in debt or worried about money, that's probably not the way to go. I mean, media seems like the most logical direction for him.
Okay.
And I think he's done some with the Washington professional football team during the preseason. I'm pretty sure he's been on some of their games. But the disturbing thing there is, it's one thing if you lose your money by being done with it. And I think that he did some of that in reading that article and some of the reporting and talking to some former teammates, that he was a little maybe reckless, especially when he first kind of, got paid. But to have the advisors who are making investments that are supposed to be watching it and safeguarding it for you, not only making bad investments, which there's a certain amount of risk, and that's going to happen, no matter who you're with, from time to time. But it seemed like criminally withdraw money without his consent is the really bad part of it. And that's what I imagine feels so terrible for Portugal. What made him so angry? It's one thing if you lose it or you make a bad decision and you loan somebody or invest in something and it doesn't work out. Those are things that you can live with and you can sort of accept the blame for yourself. But people who are the one thing that they're supposed to not do, if they do that and do it with millions of dollars and you suddenly find yourself with nothing. I mean, I can see why he felt the way he did and react to the way he did. And fortunately, cooler heads eventually prevailed. There's some real interesting sliding doors aspects of that whole thing. Of, I guess, basically when he got there, he had to wait. Like he thought he had time to write, and they wound up like working late or something. And so he sat there and thought about it and talked himself out of it. And he was like, if they had come out when I got there, then we'd be having this conversation in prison right now. So, I mean, it's a serious thing, and I'm glad he opened up about it, because I'm sure it's something that a lot of guys have gone through. Mm-hmm. I mean, we always talk about it with athletes, but I mean, you got to think that's a pretty common, human thing. That anybody who hits it big, whether they made a great investment or invented something or found oil on their property, whatever. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that went in short order from having nothing to having a lot, and maybe for one reason or another didn't work out. Like that's got to be a very violating thing to have money stolen from you like that, and maybe that's the solution in a weird way for him, is make that his cause. Make that, whether it's speaking about being a face for, even if there is no financial salvation out of it, he should be at every single rookie symposium for football, other sports, talk to kids in college. Like that message needs to get through to people that you really have to be careful with what you do, or you'll just get completely screwed.
The word legal advisor, Richard Bruce Billis Abernathy, with some advice for Clinton Portis, who reportedly got screwed out of $43 million that he earned over the course of...
It's not advice for him. I mean, I can sympathize with the guy.
Yeah.
Like that's gotta suck to put it simply. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, that's rough, dude.
I
I
can't
can't I
even.
can't say I can't say I would do that or want to do that, but I mean, Portis always seemed like a pretty interesting character
Oh yeah.
to me too, with all the what he would always wear, like the wig and the sunglasses.
Yeah. I had heard somewhere that he had like to do that because he had like anxiety with the press. I think that was him, and so he did that stuff to kind of help him. I'm not sure if it's him, but I think it was because he also did like interviews with his helmet still on in the locker room. I think, right?
Ricky Williams did that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was the anxiety. Like Portis, it was always like a character.
Okay.
Um, but did you see? I don't know if it was a. I guess it was a 30 for 30, but it might have just been like a film or a special. The Broke that ESPN did like I don't know 4 or 5 years ago. I guess.
Yeah, I saw a lot of it when it first came out, and I was thinking that I need to rewatch it. I'm sure it's streamable. Because I mean, I recall it being pretty good, and they did show that there are like firms that are like they specialize in this now. They're certified, and because people are getting screwed.
Yeah.
Um, I thought when you were asking about if I saw something, I thought you were going to ask about the like documentary ESPN did where it was like Ricky Williams after he retired, and he.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was unbelievable.
What a trajectory! He just like, I mean, he found a better life for himself, but at the time, I remember it just kind of seemed like he was just going off to smoke a lot of weed, and that was how it was kind of characterized, which is maybe
But
why
it was so much deeper than that, though.
that.
Obviously.
Oh my gosh, what a trajectory! Another Miami guy, right? He went to Miami.
No, Texas.
Why did I think he went to Miami?
Well,
Boy,
there were a lot of great running backs at Miami. Hell, when Portis was there, he was there with McGahee and Najee Davenport, and I don't know if he overlapped with Frank Gore or not.
The inconvenient truth. Well, I didn't know he went to Miami.
Yeah. So I mean that team was stacked. Those early 2000 Miami teams were freaking crazy.
Yeah, I love watching those YouTube videos where they show you the guys that were like on the bench for that team that ended up going and like playing in Super Bowls and winning titles and having Hall of Fame type careers. Wow. But Clinton Portis, man, Richard Bruce, Billis Abernathy laying down the law per usual on the word. I like that idea for Clinton Portis. I mean, it is something that's interesting that this is still an issue. And I also read last week about Boris Becker. He's in like a real...
I haven't heard about that.
Boris Becker, I think he's on his third wife, but he just declared bankruptcy in an English court. And apparently he had like a lot of bad business deals, and he obviously had a couple divorces. And then the one that really got him was he had like, I think he was married and had sex with a waitress in like, I think she was Swedish. And just like 10, 15 seconds, he even said like that was it. It was like the dumbest 10, 15 seconds of my life. Because she got pregnant, and then I guess like the child support and all that, like just he paid. So he's tweeting out that he's fine, that he's in good financial health, but he declared bankruptcy. Like it's just such a these athletes and like dealing with their money and who they interact with. I mean, I guess it's easier said than done. They have people throwing themselves at them, saying they're going to handle their money, saying that they're their friend or they want to marry them, blah, blah. Man.
Well, you got to think, I mean, we're like, oh, they have so much money. How can guys like that go broke if you have that much money?
Right.
But you tend to live to a certain edge of your means no matter how much money you're making.
Unfortunately, it's human psychology.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously they're a little better equipped to handle it or use sell stuff off or I mean you buy have a couple houses, you buy some cars, the tax like you don't think about the taxes on that and d- depending on where you live can be really bad, especially like California and stuff like that.
Oh
So
gosh, yeah.
um, yeah, I mean it's not a shock, um, but I think people are more aware of it than they used to be. And while stories like Portis are not what you want to hear about, it does sort of remind everyone and cause people to maybe take stock and reassess how they're handling some of their finances. So maybe it can have a positive effect for other people.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing about this program. We're not trying to just tear people down. We're trying to build people up.
Too much tearing down. There's a build up, tear down mentality, and
Yeah, it's really bad in
it's
sports.
yeah, oh yeah, it's like people just openly rooting for people to fail because they've had success. It's very strange.
Yeah,
It's a
like
strange thing to me.
the
Like I
whole
get, sorry, go ahead.
no, no. I was just gonna go on another tangent. Let me let you finish.
That's all the show is. Is I'm going on a tangent or you're going on a tangent. So
Well, the thing that I was gonna when you said people rooting people to fail, I remember getting really caught up in that with Tim Tebow, to where I hated Tim Tebow and I had no reason to.
I
And
never, I never hated Tebow. I
I
never really. I kind of liked him in college, and then just got a little. I just sort of grew tired of the coverage of it. But
yeah,
like him personally, I'm like, I'm not really against.
but that's the
Oh,
thing. That's what I realized. It's like I think that I don't like him, but that's just because I'm being made to not like him by the way he's being portrayed. And he kind of like some people kind of made a mockery of him. Other people were always talking about how he's not very good, despite that unbelievable. I remember that overtime toss against the Steelers when he was with Denver.
oh yeah, to Demarius.
Yeah, and you know, I just realized that the coverage was like making me biased, but that's just kind of ESPN's thing. Like Tebow is perfect. He's this kind of divisive figure for whatever reason. Even before they made him the like poster boy for that, for at least that current year that or whatever that they tortured him. Then they bring
Yeah,
him on the network, which is like okay, what? But I saw him in Sports Illustrated because he's trying to make the baseball thing happen now. You know
yeah.
what? Yeah, we might normally say this for the end of the show, but I'm giving my shout out this week to Tim Tebow. Shout out to Tim Tebow. Okay? Shout out to you, Tim. You're doing your thing. Don't let anybody. No, Tim. Do your thing, Tim. Shout out to Tim Tebow. Anyway.
He's actually been a little better, maybe baseball than I expected.
Okay.
Like not a lot because he hasn't been that good, but yeah, do your thing.
Yeah. I'm a Tim Tebow. Oh, yeah, I said it. I'm a Tim Tebow fan. Okay? Everyone's just going to have to deal with it. I'm a Tim Tebow fan. Anyway. I don't, I don't know why I'm going on a rant about that. I'm going to do like Stephen A. Smith. Just like going off on people for hating Tebow. But I can't do a good Stephen A. Smith, so I think I'm all right. Okay. But anyway, I was just saying Boris Becker, like a lot of these guys are getting themselves into trouble. I don't know. It does also play into that kind of that tear people down. The sports world just loves to do that. So but not on this program. We're building people up. Shout out to you, Clinton Portis. You're going to get it back in line. I think Rich's advice is good. I like it. It's not just Richard Bruce Billis Abernathy. Richard Bruce Robbins Abernathy. He's out here changing lives.
Oh God. I always hold my breath for a second when you're pausing for the new made up middle name.
I'm telling you, this one sticks. This one stays. This is Robbins. You talked me off the ledge. Remember, I didn't want to do the show back in college.
Hey, I should have got rid of you when I had the chance. Oh, that was fun.
Just stand up and scream that.
Yeah,
Scream.
James would always just do that at random moments in time in public places, private places. Just getting excited, but it was always because you were excited about the show. And after all these years, the excitement isn't gone. So
they had a chance to get rid of me, dude. They could have kicked me out.
I pulled you in off the ledge,
and instead they had to deal with me just sitting in their faces, screaming at them. You should have got rid of me when you had the chance. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I actually like Tony Robbins. I read his money book. It's really good. And he's got a new money book that I've bookmarked or wish list on Amazon. And his videos and his podcasts are good. Those live events seem a little bit intense, but they seem to get results. Okay. I want to go back to TV. Okay, because we got a lot we got to talk about here. I mean, not as much as we could because you won't finish Veep, but that's okay because you're on this Game of Thrones journey right now, and we touched on that. We might come back to it. Master of None. Did you mess with that at all?
Not season 2. I saw most of season 1.
First episode,
just never finished.
First episode of season 2, I tapped out halfway through. I was like, no, I don't know. Aziz, man, shout out to you. You're doing your thing. You're directing. You're writing. You're acting. I don't know if I can do another season. But the first season was good. It was just, I think it ended a little bit weak for me, but I thought it was still well done.
Yeah, it's still on my list of something I want to get to. I just haven't gotten there yet.
You're gonna be you gotta put look if you're about to do this Thrones journey, you gotta put everything on hold, man. Are we even gonna be able to do the show? I mean, this is I'm gonna have to talk with corporate about this now.
I'll make time for the show. I might be watching an episode at the same time, but I'll always make time for the show.
Oh gosh, that's my.
It's in my contract. It's not really what I want to do, but
that's my dream media joint is watching stuff with other people and talking about it. Like that Mystery Science Theater 3000 format, which they brought that show back. I don't know if I'm not really, I don't know. But that format is just so brilliant. It's like, and it's all, go ahead.
On that note, actually, this is a good time for me to give a shout out on the show tonight. My former roommate, his brother, co-hosts a podcast. It's called Clearing the Queue. Matt Bogdanow is his name, and what they do is they bring someone on, and they go through what's in your Netflix queue and why it's there, and then they pick something, and they watch it. They like take a break, they go watch, and they come back and they break down the movie that they watched. And it's a fantastic listen. Check them out on iTunes. It's exactly what you're talking about. It's stuff I love, and they're really good at it. So,
Clearing the Queue.
Go get those guys a listen.
This is why. Look, if you weren't the executive producer of the show, I mean, I don't know what we would do here. This guy's out here. He's researching podcasts. He's forming relationships. I didn't know Boggs had a padiddle doodle. That's gangster.
So yeah, his brother Matty lives out in L.A. Musician, talented guy, funny guy. So good. Yeah, you should check it out, James.
Oh, it's not Dan. It's his brother.
It's his brother. Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say I just would not see Boggs on a pod.
He actually he went on as a guest on his brother's podcast not too long ago.
Shut up.
So, yeah. It was a great hour or so of listening.
He's still with the Major League Baseball or no?
He is indeed. So speaking of which, and I love to give him a hard time about it, just to give him crap about baseball, which I still enjoy, but it to me, and we talked about this earlier. Um, it to me is a postseason only sport for the most part.
It definitely is for me. I mean, if it's on at a bar and I'm there and it's a local team, then I take a little bit of interest. And
Yeah.
now, especially now being new in Atlanta, I'm kind of like I want to learn the teams and then see who's who. But yeah, like regular season, come on, dude. I mean,
Well,
maybe
it's
going
funny
to regular
though.
season games is fun.
Well, that's the thing. It kind of seems like it's really become a very regional sport, where like areas that have a team are really supportive of their team and will go to games and will watch on local channels, but national interest in the game and conversation and stuff is not at the fever pitch that it used to always be. Um,
Yeah,
but so it's and especially in a time when live sports are worth so much money and so important to have most of those 162 games to fill, 2, 3 plus hours at a time. I mean, it's been huge for local TV, networks and things like that, and attendance has been pretty good overall. But just on the national level, just doesn't dominate the conversation like it used to.
ooh, it's gotten a little fragmented.
Yeah, but unlike it's weird, unlike the NBA where it could really be the same thing.
Hmm.
That I don't know if it's just because of the way they market the stars or the star power or exactly how what to attribute it to, but it seems to work with the NBA, and they're the guys that drive the conversation more so than the teams. And in baseball, it's kind of the other way around. Um, you just don't have a lot of. I mean, especially now that Jeter's gone, like could like the casual sports fan like rattle off more than like 10 baseball players, immediately.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, maybe not even that many. Like there just aren't a lot of big name guys anymore for whatever reason. Um, so I don't know, but I mean, I still. It also doesn't help that I'm a Braves fan and they've been awful for the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, yeah. It maybe it's a personal preference here, but I just also feel that basketball is more marketable in the way that sports is marketed now than baseball is. Like I always, you know what? I always find even playoff baseball commercials because playoff baseball is exciting, but I always find those commercials really cringeworthy. Like I don't know if it's just that I've accepted the NBA as being so over the top and so dramatic that I expect that. But whenever I see that with baseball, I don't know, just even for games that matter, playoff games and exciting matchups, even for a casual sports fan or whatever you would call me, and it just seems so forced. I don't know, it just seems like and I don't think that I'm hypersensitive to that kind of stuff. Like I will suspend disbelief very easily for a well done sports advertisement, like at the drop of a hat. Especially championship season type stuff, like if it's playoffs or if it's the Olympics. It's like they wrote the book on that. I mean, how do you? Why would anybody ever try to broadcast the Olympics? Like besides NBC and their family of 7,000 networks that now carry the Olympic events. It's like if you miss an Olympic event, it must be something really not that interesting because they cover everything. They cover it live. It's
It's the scope of it is insane.
skeet shooting. No, not what are they? It's not skeet shooting. What is that called?
Like clay shooting.
Yeah. Yes, the clay shooting. I mean, live, just statistics, heart rate monitoring. I mean, it's out of control. Clay shooting. And, I'm assuming that they're broadcasting it because people are watching it. No?
I mean, they must be.
I'm just really I'm so scared about the World Cup. I'm terrified.
What? You mean like the U.S. not making it, or?
No, I'm terrified about Fox covering it.
Oh,
I am.
Has it been that bad?
Here's the problem. This is the problem that I have. I like Fox Sports as a network because they are doing what ESPN did in the 90s. A little bit. I think they're still a little bit too polished, especially soccer. Everyone's soccer coverage, I don't understand. Like they make it so stuffy, and I think it's just because maybe it's that hipster desire to be European, so they want their
Yeah.
soccer coverage to be European, or maybe it gives them more credibility. But then again, you still have Alexi Lawless on the Fox broadcast, which is not credibility, like in any sense. In terms of like, actually, let me stop. Alexi Lawless was a national team player, an MLS star, and he was a team owner, so he knows the game. But in terms of a television analyst, I just don't think he's good. So let me not say he's not credible. And I think it's a well-known thing that people don't like him. And it's not in the Chris Collinsworth way, where I still think he's very serviceable and you don't want to mess with a good thing. Lawless has just always been bad. So anyway, I'm so frightened because actually, no matter who got the World Cup, Alexi Lawless would be involved because he works for ESPN and Fox for soccer. What a contract. Who else could do
Wow.
that? Who else could do that? I mean, you wouldn't be able to do that you could do like TNT and the NBA Network, but you wouldn't be able to do like
Well, they're part of the same parent company.
NBA Networks are owned by Turner.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That makes sense. But, so I guess maybe that's why you see those agreements. But so no matter who got the broadcast rights, it was going to be terrible. But, yeah. It's not that. Well, I will say this. One good thing about Fox is that they'll bring JP Dellacamera back, who's the guy that I grew up listening to, do ESPN, big games, national and club. But, oh, God, I'm so terrified. Because I'm bad. If I have a bad experience with something like that, I'll just swear it off. So, like,
Well, you wouldn't swear off soccer.
I did in college. I didn't watch it on TV. I hated watching it.
Wow.
I played a lot, and I wasn't coaching at that time. I wasn't in school or club coaching. But if it's a bad thing, I could listen to the Spanish broadcast maybe. I've done that before. Like I had a buddy who we watched the baseball game on TV, and then he would turn on the radio in the living room. Like he didn't want to listen to the TV announcers. But I'm not sure how I got on me being scared about Fox covering. Oh, we were talking about live sports and how valuable they are in the Olympics and the marketing of the NBA versus the MLB. But I see that's another thing. Even Fox's preliminary World Cup advertising to me, I'm like, I don't know if you guys get it. I don't really know if you understand how important this is. Not just to me personally.
Like, what's the issue? Is it just they don't understand the tone, or?
Yeah, tonally they're off because the World Cup to me is like pushing like a car down a hill. Like you don't need to give it that much. You just need to like keep it in a straight line. Like and I'm just sensing a little bit. And that's just also Fox is like very aggressive in the way that they advertise. That's kind of their brand as a sports outlet now. Is that like with the Colin Cowherd and stuff. It's it's very in your face, and I just don't think ESPN like had it the way the Olympics had it. They'd had a lot of years of practice. They've been doing the World Cup since '94, so it's always been very lighthearted and very airy and sort of like very aspirational. It's like this event is bringing the world together. That's how we're marketing it. And like all the pictures of the fans and the different colors and the painting on the face, and the obligatory two blonde Swedish girls or Icelandic girls in the stands. You're just like, I want to be there. Like if that's there, I want to be there. I'll just settle
to go to there.
Yeah, I'll settle for watching it on TV. And I just don't think that's not what I'm seeing from Fox. Fox is like, it's us, it's the World Cup, and we've got IndyCar, we've got all the major championships this year on Fox. Like, I don't care. It's just, and again, and that's another thing that worries me about people like Alexi Lalas. Like that, like he wants to be the. I don't even think Collinsworth is the right example because Collinsworth is not, to me, a divisive guy. I think he's just a very smug person, or he comes off as smug. But I think he's very knowledgeable. I like Sunday Night Football. It's actually
I like Collinsworth.
I do too, but he's got this rep, right? So I'm trying to like.
Yeah, I know people who don't care for him that much, but.
So I'm trying to think of an analogous figure to someone like Alexi Lalas, who's like a firebrand where it's not really part of the format. Because I know sports media now is very confrontational and it sells. Go for it. But like, it don't really need that in soccer. That's the thing that and I know that sounds pretentious. Like, we're above it. We're not above it. It's just for the World Cup, I don't need somebody stirring the pot. I'm already an emotional wreck because if the U.S. is in it, like I'm nothing else matters during those 30 days, right? And so like it's weird. It's like it's I don't know why this is so personal to me. I think it's just, I grew up. World Cup's the biggest event, every 4 years for me when I was a kid, and even still now, I watch every game. Pretty much. I've always been lucky to like be able to stream or whatever. So like the way what he brings to the format with that, I'm just saying I don't think it's bad. It works. He's obviously on because people like watching him. He's getting ratings. Like I said, he's a credible person to speak about soccer. As far as television announcers go, yes. I don't think you need to have an extensive playing or coaching background or both to be on TV talking about soccer, but I understand that it's a brand. But I don't know why this is so personal. But yeah, man, so like getting back to what I think they're doing wrong, it's the tone. They already messed up by not letting Gus Johnson just figure it out, and they fired him from soccer.
Oh, I hate that.
That drove me insane because
I hate not having him for NCAA tournament.
It's just a mess, man. And like he took a risk. It was going to be a pretty good payday to do the World Cup and all that, and have that under your. After you do the World Cup final, that's it. That's the pinnacle of team sports, globally. So he could do anything he wanted. So he was going to get a lot out of it too, but he took a risk because he had to put himself out there. And I watched some of his early games, and it's not like he didn't know the game. It's just little terminology things. It wasn't like me trying to go and announce a cricket match. It was entertaining enough. Anyway, I'm just saying they gotta fix this, man. Because otherwise, I'm watching on Univision. I guess I could just do that. That's gonna be better announcing anyway. Anyway, yeah. I don't know how I don't know why that got so personal.
Who's the Billy Packer of soccer broadcasting, or is there one?
Wow. Okay, well, let's keep it.
Billy Packer's like the only thing that Duke and Carolina fans agree on.
Yeah, that is. Oh, he was so miserable
because they both thought he hated them the most.
Oh God, he was such a miserable person. And you see, that actually to me, where he was at the end of his career is how I feel about Alexi Lalas now. And Alexi Lalas is really not even just getting into it. He's been doing it for a while. But he still has some years in him. And so, like the end of Billy Packer's career, he was just a miserable person on top of him being his personality. And so I was like, okay, so you don't want to be here and you're just being a jackass. And like I look at Lalas and he does want to be there. He is enthusiastic, but it's just like such a weird, like you're not stop generating controversy. It's just I guess that's the format. But yeah, okay, so let's keeping it American, the Billy Packer of soccer. I mean, I already said Lawless for me personally, but it's not as bad as Packer. It's not that bad. It's just that soccer only has like one or two major outlets, so he's on both of them. So it's like, uh,
Doesn't NBC does Premier League, right?
yeah, but they use an all
Like SN.
NBC, SN, and I mean even some like big Premier League games are on NBC. But they did something that I think was really smart for them. Is the announcing crew is all experienced British broadcasters, and they're really good. Like these guys are really, really good. And I see, and now okay, let me go ahead and contradict myself because they do the whole like we are British. Yes, it's an American sports network, but our host is British. Our two studio coaches, analysts are British, and then they mix in Kyle Martino, who I can't stand. But he's an American ex-player. I don't know. I think he might have been an MLS at some point. But it's all a feed from England. They're taking like Arlo. I think it's Arlo White and Graham Lasso are kind of like the big duo. They do all the big games.
Okay.
And then there's an ex-Arsenal defender who joins them. Sometimes they do they do three in the booth, and they're phenomenal. I would kill to see the World Cup with them, but NBC can't afford the World Cup, and they don't really care about soccer. About international soccer, unless it's women's. Women's, they're big on. I think they actually had. ESPN had the Women's World Cup, but yeah, NBC like they doubled down with like the Premier League, but that's about all you can really do if you're NBC. Like they couldn't do that and do the World Cup. I would kill.
Well, is it better to have the Premier League all the time rather than the World Cup once every 4 years?
From a cost benefit analysis, I would imagine short term the league solution is better just because you're getting that ad revenue. I mean, whatever you work out per year, or if it's paid out in a lump sum.
Well, I just meant more as a viewer. Like if you enjoy their coverage so much, the fact you get it all the time rather than just for a couple of weeks. I know it's like a big event.
Yeah.
That's a World Cup's more important than the collective, league titles. But just
right.
As a viewer, just the amount of hours of time, you'd much rather that than it be flipped, I assume, right?
Or have them more often than have them once every 4 years. Yeah, but that's why I hate the current model of American broadcasting with soccer, because for the Olympics, they just go get everybody. And so you have like really experienced broadcasters in the booth with a really a knowledgeable color commentator for the event. But that person doesn't work for NBC, like the play-by-play. They go get everybody. And I guess you can get away with that for the Olympics. But for some reason with the World Cup, ESPN's like, nope. Like these are our guys, and like so there's been some freaking calamities with that. And who's the guy that's the Red Sox? Dave O'Brien. Dave O'Brien did the 2010.
Dave O'Brien, wow.
He was the marquee guy. It was him and Marcelo Balboa, and it was a freaking train wreck. I think it was the 2010 World Cup. It was, because I was in D.C., and I remember I was texting The Godfather, Joe Hafera, about just the absolute nonsense. Now, Dave O'Brien didn't do the final. They had an all-British crew. They had a former BBC British guy, or two Brits, one a former Nigerian national team player who now is British, doing the play-by-play in color. But yeah, ESPN, they locked themselves in with whoever's there. So like Dave O'Brien was getting some serious clock in the 2010 World Cup, and it just did not go well. And a lot of that was Marcelo Balboa. He was terrible, but he was an ex-national team player, so it's like, oh yeah, I got to get him in there. American fans want that. No, we don't. We want someone that we can tolerate. By the way, speaking. Oh wait, did I show you this? When I came to your house, for the episode we did, I was
Yeah.
playing in the guest room. Rich has got a gangster little townhome, right? That's the correct term for it?
Condo, I think.
Ah! We went over this during the episode. I'm such a moron. You're right. It's a condo.
I think it's a condo, not an apartment, because it can be bought and sold, which, yeah,
Okay.
bought individually.
Right. So there was this clip with Dave O'Brien and the way he pronounces S's. I remember playing it in your guest bedroom because we'd just come back from like dinner or something, kind of unwinding. Because that was also, by the way, we talked about the whole. I know I'm jumping all over the place here. The flat Earth truther thing, reverse flat Earth truther.
Yeah.
So Rich drops this on me. We were at dinner at whatever that place was that we went. That's now closed, which is a tragedy. But we're at dinner at this place, and we're just talking this up. And I don't know how we got to this reverse flat Earth truther thing, but I was so taken aback by that. I had to like run out of the restaurant because I was laughing so hard that I thought I was going to throw up. And I didn't want to like throw up in the restaurant. I was like, I cannot contain this. Like I like sprinted out of the restaurant. Anyway, why on earth was I talking about that? Dave
O'Brien.
Dave O'Brien and his S's. Wait, did I play that clip for you?
I think you might have.
All right, we have to figure out a way to play it on the show here so that we can both hear it because it's amazing. Oh my goodness. But before I forget, I don't want to complain about Alexi Lalas for any longer than I have to. I forgot to play we forgot to really properly intro the I got put 5 on it segment on the program because I got the audio now. So
you got the audio.
So what's going to happen is when someone puts 5 on it, this is what you're going to hear. We'll obviously announce it, but this is what people are going to hear. Just the intro. So I know, Rich, we haven't set it up so that you can hear it, but I just played the first couple beats, first couple notes, really. So you were saying you're not going to put 5. Okay, hold on. So let me, I'm going to be your bookie right now. Would you put 5 on the Celtics not getting Anthony Davis? Like, you think it's a stone cold lead pipe? No.
You're putting me on the spot here.
I know. And the only reason I didn't mean to like just drop it on you, but I do want, because I think we should put 5 on this. And if you don't want the action, I'll take it. We don't both have to take the action.
I'll let you take it if you want it.
Okay.
I'm not willing to go there.
Okay. I'm going to put 5 that the Celtics don't get Davis.
Statistically that's probably the play, but I can't rule it out. It just feels like something that might happen. That franchise just seems like it's bound for Boogie not re-signing there this summer, and they're still bad, and their cap is kind of a mess, and he just wants out. And I just don't think anybody's better positioned at that point than Boston, but you just don't know what things are going to look like then. When people force away places, it's usually LA or a championship team that's already won a championship. So considering they're neither one of those things in all likelihood, it does seem unlikely, but it would just be fun to see him there.
I agree, which is why I am playing the song and why I'm putting 5 on it. I'm putting it in the show notes, people. Not getting Davis. I gotta create a label here for
betting for and rooting against a superstar trade is kind of like, you're betting on no buzzer beaters on the first day of March Madness or something. Like, you just don't want something fun to happen. You're just the killjoy for America right now.
Ooh, this is gonna be fun. This is good. And I am creating a label in our show notes so that we can know a show that has 5 on it. Oh my God, this is too much. Okay. Well, we've already done our shout outs, which is the way that we would normally wrap up the show. Unless you have other shout outs or anything else that we need to discuss here.
No shout outs. We can always bring back bold statements if you want, close out the show.
Yeah, I don't have any bold statements, but I am going to put that on the rundown for next week, is that we do need to come prepped. We used to come packing bold statements. In fact, I remember, I think the reason why why it became 3 bold statements is because I think we like decided, like, there's too many bold statements. We need to put a cap on these bold statements. There's a bold statement.
They're usually your bold statements, by the way.
I would go on that show and say anything. You know, we talk about the experience we had in college a lot on this show, but being on that show, I completely understand now the mentality of like a talk radio DJ, like someone who's like trying to like incite stuff and like instigate, like, because I would just go on that show and once we like hit our groove and we even like the prank phone calls, we like knew how to like work them into what we were doing. Yeah. And we had the instant messenger thing up. Obviously we were a decade ahead of the live streaming culture and stuff. I mean, I feel like Donald Trump saying that, like like just patting myself on the back. But you know, but I get it, because I would just go on that show and I would just start saying stuff. Like I think that's kind of always been my persona on any kind of broadcasting. I'm just kind of up there just spitting out randomness. And hence, that's how you got this program here.
That's pretty much all we do here, too.
Okay, so we need to come packing bold statements. But do you have bold statements? I'm kind of plumb out right now.
No, I think the Anthony Davis thing was about as bold as I was willing to get.
That was a bold prognostication, kind of like a maybe. I mean,
it would just be fun. I want him to be on a relevant team.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be very cool.
So,
you know, we didn't get something major because we were eventually gonna save a whole episode for this. We still may have to, because the pieces are not all, you know, the puzzle are not all there. We didn't even get to talk about Phil Jackson.
I don't know. I don't have that strong of feelings about it, actually.
Really?
I mean, I thought he did a bad job, but it was a horrible. He inherited a horrible situation and left it about the same. So really, he was just like average. if we're grading him on a curve, I've heard some interesting, like, borderline conspiracy theories that, you know, Phil did everything on purpose and knew what he was doing and was trying to get fired and didn't want to do the job anymore, but didn't want to quit so that he could get the money. So he forced him to fire him, which I feels a little bit like a Trumpian argument of the, you know, it's like, oh yeah, he's this is all on purpose. It's all a ruse, and this isn't really, you know, him, and he's just trying to get people to think what he wants them to think, and blah blah blah. You know, we're giving him too much credit for just making mistakes, I think. And he just didn't do a great job, but he was still a hell of a coach, and the games probably passed him by a little bit. They drafted Porzingis. I don't know if that was really his guy or not. So, I mean, they at least have a guy there. But just running the triangle offense seemed just a horrible decision with the way the game was changing, and it seemed like he was just not adapting. So he did a bad job. It happens. Wasn't for him. So everybody's probably better off with him being gone.
Yeah, agreed.
But I don't have like a strong, like, the whole conversation of, oh, this diminishes what he's accomplished and legacy and all that stuff. I don't buy that at all. Yeah,
that's a little bit extreme. All right.
So,
Well, we don't. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So not really that's like a very. It's a hot take, but it's like a.
see, I disagree. I would think that qualifies as our lukewarm take of the week.
Well, I don't see, but I don't think it was lukewarm. I think that just because it's reasonable, it's measured, it makes sense. I think it's still a hot take. I mean, it's you're cutting through. This is what your career has been defined by. You are cutting through the BS. You are getting to the core of the issue. You are telling people to relax. I mean, this is why the American people voted for you.
Well, I want to keep my campaign promises, James. So
This is what you've been doing. You got. I wrote you in. I wrote you in on my North Carolina
I,
absentee ballot.
I appreciate that.
We got a write in here. What's the name on it? It says Richard. I can't read this handwriting. Guy must be a doctor. It says Richard Bruce Bilbao Athletic. Athletic Bilbao Abernathy. Don't see that in the records here. Just toss it in the pile with the rest of the kooky write-ins. Okay, so we have to come packing next week on the program. We're going to come packing more bets. We're going to put 5 on it, and maybe even an update on the first bet. Packing some hot takes. No lukewarm takes. If it's going to be a hot take, it can be a reasonable take. It can be like lukewarm taste, this is what your take was. It was lukewarm temperature, but it was hot logic. Oh, people!
Okay, that's it. I'll take that. I like that.
Somebody hashtag that. Lukewarm taste, hot logic. Hot logic sounds like an up and
Store in the
coming.
mall. Oh wait, that's Hot Topic. Never mind, sorry.
Hot logic to me could be like a struggle rapper. Like he's got mixtapes and he's like really grinding, and he's like,
Oh,
"Yo, I got that hot logic." I kind of like that.
that is.
Hot
We might need to actually reserve that for something.
Okay, hold up. Putting it in the show notes. Hot logic. We're going to need an intern for this. Okay, so we're going to be coming with lukewarm temperature, hot logic takes. We've obviously got our 3 bold statements, and we're coming to. This is going to be next week. Will be a continuous month of episodes.
Yeah. It's already a trend.
I mean, people really, I don't know if they're ready. I don't know if I'm ready for this level of, once we're in the big leagues now. I mean, I'm going to have to get an agent. I'm going to have to just get a driver. I mean, 4 episodes in a row. I mean, who actually reaches that milestone?
Only most podcasts.
I would actually, just like it is with small businesses, I would bet most podcasts don't get past 3 episodes total, let alone in a row. Like we hear about all the gangster ones, but how many are out there?
There's still a lot out there.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I should know a little bit more about the industry that I'm purporting to join here, or whatever this is. I don't know. I still feel like everyone's doing a podcast. Okay. So we're just gonna.
Hey, look, if they'll give us one, I mean, it stands to reason that they'll give them to anybody.
I couldn't believe once I actually got to the right instructional information, getting the podcast itself onto the app was very straightforward. I don't know if it's improved since when I first started looking it up when we were doing this, but it's you could have a podcast and have it out in the public in just as an hour after you record it. It shouldn't take longer than that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So it's a wonderful time to be alive.
I know. People get to hear about, my anxiety with the World Cup broadcast, which really doesn't mean anything at all. I mean, what are people going to do without that knowledge? How do you start your week without knowing that I'm upset about Alexi Lalas? We're doing the world a service, essentially.
Essentially.
At this point, it's we should be getting paid for this. That's gonna be We
Oh,
gotta pick.
are you not getting checks?
I didn't get a direct deposit
Oh,
form or anything. So I just
I,
wow.
I talked to Carol in HR about that. I thought,
The Word Podcast HR department. Policy number one. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. No, I was gonna. I don't want to be on the air for another 3 hours. So I'm just gonna let sleeping dogs lie. Whew. Okay, just gotta get myself under control here. Whew. Okay, I'm back.
you're back. You okay?
Woo! I was about to go in on people. I need to stop. That's not what this is for. Okay,
We'll save it. We'll table it.
we'll save it. But we have an HR department. Okay,
I'll make
okay.
sure Pepe Sylvia from HR comes to talk to you.
Mike Wadowski. I just saw that clip the other day too. Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
the Pepe Sylvia scene from Always Sunny is maybe my probably not my favorite scene from that show, but it's right there.
Man, so you're like really trying to do it to me now because I just got over wanting to watch The Office, and now you're gonna get me on some Always Sunny in Philadelphia tonight. Wow, dude, you're just cold blooded.
I am.
I am. That is. There is nothing else in the cards for me tonight because the podcast, once we hit stop, it just posts itself to YouTube, Spreaker, and iTunes. So I don't even have to do any post. So I'm gonna go straight.
So
from the show.
we can't fix it in post.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I realized too. If we wanted to edit one of these shows, that may be a little tricky. So, well, that's when we do it live. At least we can do an episode that we don't.
I started to say Bill O'Reilly over here, but that's not really a funny comparison anymore.
You really just dropped It's Always Sunny on me, dude. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm about to like make ice cream and just, oh my God, what is wrong with you, man? I can't believe you did that to me, dude. I mean, now, what other choice do I have?
I mean, go do some Charlie work and just don't watch it. It's fine. He's my favorite. He's my favorite character, hands down.
So it's
by the way,
unbelievable lightning in a bottle for everybody, but he's pretty amazing. I'm just wow. Well, I mean that's what I'm doing tonight. So thank you for that. You know, and now what you probably did is you probably did for people listening to the podcast. Now they're going to be all it's sunny in Philadelphia tonight.
They paid me off.
That's our first sponsor, actually. Is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
So yeah, I get a little kickback on the number of on-demand requests. So
wow, because you got all kinds of revenue sources coming in. Look at this guy. I need to. This guy is Richard Bruce Zuckerberg Abernathy over here, dude.
Don't Zuckerberg me.
That dude is so weird. Oh man.
Future President Mark Zuckerberg.
Are you kidding? Wait, is that a real rumor?
Well, there are rumors that he wants to run for politics, whether it's for governor somewhere, Senate, or whatever. I don't know, but
dude,
that's a popular rumor.
I just need you to bring Facebook back to before we could tag people in pictures, just so I can show people the Godfather's ability. He could find anybody's picture on Facebook.
Actually, we need to give the Godfather a shout out.
Oh well, I'm sorry. Let me let you handle this because I'm all over the place. Because yeah, we need to get him back on the show. Is what we need to do.
Yes.
Let's get the Godfather.
So, Joe Hefera, if you're listening, give us a call.
Oh shit, dude. Okay, so the next time we're on the broadcast, we may be joined by the Godfather. Wow, things are getting real here, dude. You're dropping It's Always Sunny. You got the Godfather in here. Shout out to the Godfather. Woof. This is an action-packed closing, and there weren't even any bold statements.
No, saying we were going to get him on the podcast was a pretty bold statement.
Ooh, this guy is so meta right now. I'm just staring. I'm yelling at imaginary people in my apartment about how meta you are.
It's nice to see things haven't changed too much.
Oh, shit. Okay. Listen, people. The name of the podcast is The Word Podcast. You're probably aware of that. The hashtag is sports news stuff or hashtag hot logic. I want that. That's a life goal. I want that trending. Hashtag hot logic. Hashtag Carlissimo. Hashtag Legler. If you happen to be listening to us on any of the streaming services, the podcast, iTunes, Spreaker, or YouTube, then feel free to leave a comment or to like or review the podcast. Rich, what I did there, I'm learning about this internet stuff. That's called a call to action, what I just did. So, yeah. So this is apparently that I'm trying to entice some kind of action, no matter how simple, from the audience to drive engagement, which leads to, I'm not sure what, but everybody wants more engagement. Does that mean more money? I don't. What does it mean?
Maybe this feels like the underpants gnome scene from South Park.
if we get
phase 1 call to action, phase 3 profit. What's phase 2? What's phase 2?
Okay, so we do. So good. We got a good plan here. We got our call to action, and now we just need to rake in the profits. Oh my God, you're killing me right now. Oh shit. Okay, so please heed our call to actions to engage with us, and we will see you next week, live and also on demand on the internets for Richard Bruce Gates Abernathy. I'm James Mundia, and this is The Word.
See you next week, guys.